sorry, Joe. I've just realised that there was no sound on YouTube. Apologies. You should be able to hear me now. Hey, Sammy. So Wednesdays, when I do the live feeds at 8 p.m, it is based on, and not every Wednesday normally, but for the last few weeks we've been doing this specific tutorial. So if anybody wants to learn how to draw this with me, all the previous lives are saved on my YouTube channel and the link is in the bio. So if you want to join in, all the tools that you need, all the information is all there, all the downloads, all the line work, everything you need is there. So yeah, if you want to join in, you can catch up anytime you want, because it's going to be on YouTube all the time. Right, they're all the warm greys, aren't they? And I think because today is very much going to be rinse and repeat of all the things that we've done in previous weeks. Hi. Thank you. Hey Neve, that's alright, lovely. That's the joy of them being on YouTube, is the fact that you get to watch them back at any time. So yeah, as I say, this is pretty much going to be rinse and repeat of all the things that we've done before over the last, what's this, the 4th week now that we're doing this. So unless people have specific questions, which of course I'm happy to answer, please bear in mind though on TikTok that I am dual feeding over on YouTube at the same time. So if I miss any questions, one of the admin will give me a poke if it's not something that they can answer. But you know, I'll give it another couple of minutes and then I will probably literally just crack on. And I mean, the methods that we've gone through for the last 3 weeks are not going to change. So when I make a start, I will literally just dive in, carry on. I'll go through the pencil names as I have done before. Nice timing, Gary. Nice timing. Hey, Carlos. Yeah, so as I say, specific questions, please fire away. I'm not feeling particularly well at the moment. If I have to close the live feed down early, I apologise. Yeah, not feeling 100%. So it's 8 o'clock. Might as well just crack on. Most of you have watched the previous live feeds anyway. So yeah, let's just get going, shall we? Right, I can't even remember where we left off last week. This is, I don't do well leaving things. Right, raw umber. Reference picture would help, wouldn't it? Where are you? There. No, that's the lion I was working on earlier. There he is. Thank you. It's just a blip. That's all it is. I know it is. I'll be fine tomorrow. I've been fine most of the day, but all of a sudden this afternoon. So most of his fur on this side of his head, apart from the obvious stripes, doesn't really have much in the way of detail, so I can get away with pretty much filling out that whole area until we get down to the stripe. Sorry if you can hear the washing machine in the background. It shouldn't take long to fill this space because the technique, as I say, will be exactly the same. extra layer on in there. Actually, that shows me where I'd gone wrong on the previous tutorials, because this bit here I've got curving round and it shouldn't. It needs to come actually down, so I need to erase that. So for me, cold grey 3. If you paid better attention than I did, you probably wouldn't have to use this. Payne's grey.
No.
Where are you, Torghast? I might suggest actually now that if you yeah, no worries, Dan, it's not a problem. Forgot what I was going to say now. Stack your warm greys separate to your cold greys. Stack your Payne's grey with your cold greys. Stack your dark indigo with your cold greys, and stack your, although I don't think we're using it, basically just stack all your warm colours together and all your cold colours together, so when you hear me say Payne's grey, you instantly going to be able to sort of grab that colour without having to panic and look for them. So it's worth stacking them in a similar order to that, just so you can have them together really. I need to darken in my little section here. Okay, so I'm going to blend over, not too heavy though, with ivory. Get it right this time. I said cream last time. Hi Tuppence. My aunt's dog was called Tuppence. Such a cute name. So I'm just going to blend over the top, but I'm not pushing heavy, otherwise I'm not going to be able to do details on top of that. So just gently, just filling in some of the space and blending it together. So let's go straight in with, I'm thinking with the walnut brown, because he's got quite a lot of dark details on the side of his head. So make sure you follow the fur direction. And from the top of the eye here, we need to be coming out and up by the looks of the reference. So out and up. And then as we come round, we start to straighten out. And you'll see that there's a little section here just above the black stripe that's softer and brighter, so you need to make sure that you keep it that way. So we're just going to go in and fill the fur detail in. For those of you who are watching the progress on the lion, I won't be able to do a live feed tomorrow, I don't think. Certainly not during the day. So potentially the next live feed will be Friday for that. Get yourself a really cheap cutlery drawer. That's what I've used in the past. Or even just some jars. At the moment I keep all my my pencils that I'm using for particular portraits separate if I can. So I'll just use little jars if needed. So I'm just going to have to keep filling the space and make sure that this section's darker. You can be a bit longer here where the ear fur is, where it comes into the ear. And just get in between those indents that you've put down. It's a little bit messy here, so there's not a particular order in which direction the fur goes, so don't worry too much. Oh no, this one's a tutorial I run on Wednesdays, so people can draw along with me. I put all the references and the resources that people need, so they can learn literally step by step how to draw this particular animal. Buff titanium, and I'm just going to blend over what we've done just to lighten some areas. Don't blend over the whole lot. Just pick out where some of the highlighted areas are. Back to walnut brown. Start shifting. I think it's around here it starts shifting direction. So it doesn't really have a direction once it gets there. And then it starts sort of pointing down. Supposedly, I don't know how real this is. I think we need Lizelle here to confirm. But I read or heard somewhere that the reason cats have a thinner bit of fur here is so it makes it look like their eyes are always open. I don't know.
No, I've heard that.
Have you? Yeah. I do have a lot of coloured pencils. Hi Stephen. Hi Board. Okay, so I need to consciously keep this section lighter, so I'm just going to lighten the pressure on my pencil, but I still want to get some detail in there, so just going to go down it now, and then I will probably go over with the, buff titanium, I think. I'm going to do that now, otherwise I will forget. So buff titanium, it's quite soft and fluffy there, so I've got no objection with going straight in and just blending over the whole area. Follow the direction of the fur. Like so. And I'm going to do just up the top here, I'm going to bring out a little bit of Payne's Grey. While I have it in my hand, we need to darken in this inner section. In fact, no, let's, you can be pretty sporadic, you don't have to be precise. I'll just get some darker patches in. And then what we're going to do is we're going to glaze over that area. So let's grab, I think burnt sienna. I'm going to go in and glaze with burnt sienna. So burnt sienna, we're just going to glaze over that patch that is darker than the rest. Okay, once we've glazed over it, we can go in with, where's my dark sepia? Definitely was on the list, wasn't it? I know I've been using that in the other portrait, or have I actually? No, I can't remember. If I can even find my dark sepia. Well, it's not in there, so I've put it somewhere. Where have I put it? Would someone like to magic me my dark sepia, please? Hang on, I'm just going to bring my pot of colours. Oh, what have I done with that? I'm pretty sure it was in a pencil extender. Really, Bonnita? Really? Have I got any spares? Dark sepia went back in my drawer for some reason. Hi. Hi, Zerin. Hi, Erica. I have quite often been told I sound like Adele. Okay, so dark sepia. I'm just doing tiny little dots sporadically, like that word, around that area to make it look a bit more patchy. And you can do a few tiny little lines, just make sure you keep them short. Dark patch in here. So you can see how just by doing those two things has darkened that up compared to the rest of the fur. So swap back over to walnut brown. Again, there's not much definition with regards to direction. And then there's a section just here that I think we need to bring the buff titanium in for. There's not quite enough contrast here, so while I have the walnut in my hand, I'm just going to glaze it a little bit more just to get a bit more contrast there. That's better. It it will help once this bit's done as well. Hi Laura, thank you. IBM. Okay, so again, I'm just going to grab my buff titanium. I'm just going to blend this little section here. I'm going to grab my Payne's Grey and just here there's a few, you can probably see easier on your references if you've downloaded them. You can see a couple of sort of darker stripes coming to form that join up to this little bit here. I'm going to darken that with the walnut. And then we get a little bit of more of a brown tinge in here, and there's one here as well. I would grab your burnt sienna and just do a little bit of a glazing here and on that little area, and it just warms that patch up until we get to work on it. Walnut brown. Again, there isn't really any definition at this point, so I'm going to just blend over the top. Define the back of his ear. When I've said in the past that you don't always have to have literally every single fur detail drawn, this is exactly what I mean. So just in here where there isn't really much in the way of definition, you can get away with just blending over it very lightly with the colour, and the texture will naturally occur itself, so you don't have to worry. I'm going to blend it up slightly into that grey area, just do a few tiny lines, and then grab your buff titanium and just blend that up. And I'm going to blend the back of the ear section here because that's still fairly light. Let's grab our raw umber. I'm just going to do a few sticky out bits of fur. Don't make them too long, you want to keep them quite short. So keep them quite short at the back as it comes out. Mine you can still see the line. Ideally you want to get rid of that, but for the sake of the tutorial I'm not going to worry. But for you guys, you need to really try and eradicate that if you can. Walnut brown. And I'm going to put a tiny touch of Payne's Grey just on this inner bit here, just to darken that up a little bit. And then I'm going to do a little bit of a blendy with the raw umber. Hi Neil. Okay, so to make sure that I've got this section light enough, you should know the rules by now, so I'll let you answer this one. If it doesn't look bright enough, the issue is what? Oh, I need a drink. I'm going to have a drink while you're answering that. Yay! Brownie points for Erica. So I need to go darker in this section here. I don't mean to sound so patronising, I promise. And Leslie and Joe. Paint's great. Okay, I want to get this line sorted out. So I think I'm okay with how light this is, but I'm not going to know until I get that down. So it is quite a solid dark stripe. So I'm just going to fill with Payne's Grey. Well, you say it too much to me. Hi.
Is it app devices?
Yes.
Yeah.
Also, Maddie told me to not go in your room.
Okay, now's not really the time for me to
Can I go in your room?
be having this discussion. So Daddy's going to come up.
Yeah, come on.
Why is it bedtime?
Yeah.
No!
You've got school in the morning.
No. No! That's unfair! Maddie's been on the phone the whole time!
What?
Maddie's been on the phone the whole time. No. I want to go.
Could we have this conversation like upstairs? Right. Payne's Grey. Dark Sepia. Ideally, you don't want to be using black. Using Payne's Grey, Dark Sepia and Dark Indigo are a really, really good way of making black look a lot richer than just using a black pencil. I mess up all the time. If the mess up can't be dealt with or altered or changed, then you just have to start again. From the second she walked through the door. Yeah. Right, okay. So I'm going to still use the Dark Sepia and we're going to start coming out. Okay, I'm going to be really fussy here, and this is worth being fussy over. So you might think I'm being really picky, but it's these details that I insist on putting in. So if you really want to be absolutely on top of details, try and stick with this. So Gary, pencils down until I've talked you through it, at least. Don't go ahead yet. So on this little section here, you'll see that little bits of fur come in from left down to right. So your top left down to right. It goes sort of roughly in this direction. So I'm going to go from the dark patch into the light section. And that's going to create some fur detail. Why does it sound like it's tipping it down with rain? Weird. Okay, so we keep that down in that direction. Hopefully you can see that well enough. Then as we come round, we start changing our clock direction and we go from bottom, well, left to right actually. Trying to think on a clock, sort of roughly 9 to 3. And then we just keep bringing it around. Like so. So you can already see just by adding that bit of detail, you can see how much lighter this section looks and how much contrast there now is between these two areas. So when we come to do this section, we'll be doing it in the opposite. So we always try and draw your dark into your light. It's so much easier than trying to draw light into dark. So much easier. So at this stage, I can then come in and I can put another coating or layer down of the dark sepia. And just by adding those few little bits of pencil stroke there, you've added the detail of the third direction without having to go over the top. So we get another coating down of that. And it joins in this section here, but we'll deal with that in a minute. So grab your Payne's grey. At this point, I'm going to actually go down with the dark indigo now, because we want to take out some of the warmth that's still in there. So grab your dark indigo. My pencil is getting very short now. So we're going to go in with the dark indigo. There we go. Right, how are we doing for those that are following on YouTube? How are you doing? Another drink. They forecast rain closer to and over the weekend. Oh really? We were supposed to have this massive thunderstorm. We got absolutely hardly anything. We got a couple of claps of thunder, didn't we? Okay, so we just need to warm this little section up down here a bit more, and this little section up to his ear. So grab your burnt sienna. Might put a bit more of a point on mine. So don't go heavy with burnt sienna. It's just to add a bit of a hint of redness, I guess. The joy of this colour is you don't need a huge amount of it really. Change the shape slightly of this bit. Is that light enough on YouTube for you, or is it getting a bit too dark? Every time I start, it's light enough, and then it just seems to get darker and darker. Oh, the trolls are coming out on TikTok. I've missed them. Okay. Those of you, we were talking about this the other day, right? So those of you who are watching on YouTube, how many of you remember belly button guy or girl? I don't actually know. But do you remember I used to sneak into my live feeds and asked if I drew belly buttons? Okay, dark sepia. Just defining the dark patches. They're watching telly.
Yeah.
Right, I think I'll probably want to do under the eye and then I can finish this section. So we are going to, let's move on to the eye bit. So let me move the drawing a bit. That's fine. I need to tilt it a bit more actually. I'm not the only one that tilts their work, are they? I don't know how these people can work completely upright. Okay, so all this is white underneath here. Well, it's not white, but we'll have it grey. But I'm going to ignore this section for the minute. So I'm going to go straight in and do the dark line, and then we're going to do the raw umber underneath. So let's go straight in with the raw umber to get a base down. You need to remove some of your lines. I'm not really doing it at the moment for this specific tutorial, but ideally you need to be removing your lines as you're working. In fact, look, let me just do these ones underneath and on top. Just do them. Just do them, Bonnita. There you go, stop being lazy. Okay. That's all pretty much pale under here, and then we go into the dark again. So we just need to observe the reference and bring the raw umber down into all the sections that need it. So it's not a straight line if you have a look at the reference. Okay, walnut brown. And what you need to do is, again, I am being very, very specific. So from this little section here, you'll notice the fur doesn't just go in a straight direction, it actually curves. So I've already slightly put mine in from when I did the base layering, which is why it's not such a terrible thing to have it completely smooth when you're doing fur. So we literally go from underneath here and we come up and around. That's pretty much the shape that we've got under there. And then from the eye, from this section, we stick with our small straight lines that come down into the fur. And then we just elongate them as we come round to where this bit is. So you should then get a nice transition from short hair into slightly longer hair. And then you'll notice, like, I have marked these on your line work. So this is a dark spot in here. There's one here as well. There's one along here. And there's one here too. For those of you that are watching on YouTube, I have said it before I think, but if you'll notice how often my head goes up to my reference, that's how often you should be looking at yours. So up around here we start to bend up more towards the ear. So your fur should be pointing up into the direction of the ear. Dark sepia. I'm just going to put that shape in that comes off from that dark. I don't know how long you lost me on YouTube for. I'm hoping I'm back. Just said OBS lost connection. I don't know why. There shouldn't be a valid reason for it. Okay, so with the dark sepia in our hand, we're just going to shade again here. Can anyone remind me why I've made the black spots smaller than they actually are? Have you been listening? Right, we're just going to follow our fur direction around from the bottom. Don't go too heavy, you only want little pencil strokes. Just to indicate the transition into that section. Yes, see, you're all listening. That's 2 brownie points on TikTok now. Fill that in. Swap over to the Payne's Grey. Get that shaded over. Dark indigo. Payne's Grey. Probably dark enough. So while I've got the Payne's Grey, I'm just going to do a couple of lines, tiny lines that come up into what will be the white section. And I'm going to do a few more coming down. I'd rather have a brownie. Me too, mate. Me too. Hey, Ark. Right, just bringing them down from the inner eye here. Don't be too heavy on your pressure, but it's just to keep it nice and light. Oh, bless you. Oh, take care. Take it easy. Hi, Natharts. Thank you. Right. Okay, so now we can... I want to do a few little texture details while I've got the Payne's Grey actually still in my hand. Now we can go in with Cold Grey 2, Cold Grey 1, Cold Grey 1. Okay, and then we are going to shade, because we didn't really do it on this side, we are going to shade exactly in the direction of the fur. So we are going to use what pencil is down to our advantage. And I know a lot of you worry about it looking muddy, but from here we are literally going to just go from top to bottom in the same direction, and whatever colour is pulled from the top and the bottom is not a problem. And you'll see instantly, just by pulling those colours backwards and forwards and going in with your pencil, it's how much work it's done for you. Nature isn't clean, so you don't have to worry about that. Raw umber. And we're going to go just under here with a little bit of raw umber. It's got a bit of colour just there. In fact, no, swap that. Let's go to the burnt sienna. Get some burnt sienna. I nearly went burnt sienna first. Yeah, burnt sienna. And you can also put a little bit of burnt sienna down in these sections where it meets into the lighter fur. Then you're going to grab your cold grey 3. And we're going to go from the bottom into the middle. Just lift your pressure off as you hit into the middle section. We're not looking at making it darker, we're looking at just adding a bit more detail, and adding these fine little lines will do that. Like so. And he's pretty, he's not that detailed under here, so I'm going to grab my Payne's Grey and I'm just going to do a couple of little dots and lines, not many, just keep it really, really simple. So yours should roughly be looking something similar to that. How are we doing? I don't know how many of you are actually drawing along with me. I know of one. I don't know how many others are. I'm pretty sure most of you are doing it after the actual live feed, which isn't a problem at all. Right. Grab your ivory if you are ready to. I need to do, actually, let's do the whiskers because I literally forgot last time, didn't I? Let's do the whiskers. Right. If you're new to watching this on TikTok or even my YouTube, let me explain very quickly. We're going to do the indenting method to do the whiskers. This is what it looks like. Hang on YouTube. That's the sort of, no, that's not the effect. Well, it is the effect it gives you. Similar effects. It's just a nice easy way of doing whiskers and fur detail. So you need something that's squishy, so whether it's an A4 piece of paper folded up 4 or 5 times, whether it's a soft piece of card, or this is just some lino left over from when I did the flooring in my office. We're going to pop that underneath where my whiskers are going to go, and we're going to use a ball tool. And these are used in nail art, and each end has a different size ball. Focus. And you normally get 4 in a set. I got mine from the pound shop, so don't go spending silly money on them because they're, you really can pick them up cheap. So you get 4 different tools, so it's 8 different size balls on the end. So put your soft squishy thing underneath where you want to do your whiskers. So for us it's here. And you don't have to be exact to the reference, but at least get them roughly where you need to be. So we've got one long white whisker here. We've got one that comes out literally from the edge. And you're just going to push into your paper. Try and make it quite a confident sweep. And it's always a little bit thicker as it goes into the skin. So the closer you are to the face, the thicker the end is. So from here, which I should have actually left a little bit of white, so I'm just going to see if I can pull that back with the slice tool, which can. Oh, wrong end. We're going to get that one in. And then from here, quite honestly, as long as you're roughly where they are, you haven't got to be mega precise. Just as long as they look like whiskers. I've actually drawn these two in, so I need to get rid of those. Don't push too hard that you end up damaging your paper, but it will cause a curve in your paper. It's completely natural, but the more you do it, the more curvier your paper will get, so just bear that in mind. Well, you probably can't see it at all actually on TikTok, so I'm gonna get a couple in underneath his little chinny chin while we're at it. Okay, I need another drink, bear with. You need to go and play another game. So, when we come to, let's do the dark patch so you can see. So I'm just going to grab my dark sepia. No, dark, no, Payne's grey. And hopefully you'll be able to see well enough on TikTok how you've managed to create this indent to keep your whiskers nice and clean. If you don't have anything soft underneath your paper when you do this method, let me show you for example. So say I'm doing it straight on my desk. I'm going to do it straight on my desk. And then I'm going to do it on the bit of lino. So that was desk, that was lino. So I'm just going to show them on TikTok. So if I colour over the top, you can see the difference quite clearly between doing it on my desk and doing it on the lino. So for you guys on YouTube, doing it on the desk, which is still fine, but eventually you'll end up filling that up if you're not careful. But the indent is much deeper when you do it on the lino, so you tend to get a much better indent. Okay, so clean that line. I'm going to go in with the cream. We're just going to fill in the space. You'll see on a few of his whiskers he has actually got black lines on his whiskers, so we'll do that near the end. Keep filling that with cream. Just be careful when you get to the dark section. gets our base colour down. Raw umber. I'm just going to shade a little bit round where you can see the colour changing. There's, I don't know if I might have missed this off of the line work. So just here is a spot. So I'll just draw that in quickly. Under here as well, we've got like a triangle shape of fur colour. It's just the same as the Tombow Mono. It's just that it's a rectangle version rather than a round version. It's just whatever I picked up at the time. But there's the round version, and there's the. Can you tell what I was doing earlier? So there's the rectangle version. There's the round version, but they're both Tombow Monos. Clean that up quick. I am going to grab my cinnamon. I'm going to glaze over that section I've just done there with the cinnamon. Tidying up in here with the raw umber. Cinnamon. Buff titanium. Wrong one. Buff titanium. Get the right one this time. Cinnamon. Raw umber. Buff titanium. Titanium buff, whatever way round it is. I always forget. Okay, cold grey. No, let's go with warm grey 4 actually, I think. Oh, actually, grab your raw umber again. I need to just extend, you might have done it already, but I just need to extend mine down a bit. There we go. Okay. Warm grey 4, and I'm just very lightly going to start putting in a few fur details. Again, making sure you follow fur direction. You don't need tons and don't go heavy. So when you come to then blend over with your buff titanium, it softens it all out. Like so. Payne's Grey. I'm going to push up into where the light fur meets the dark fur. Again, pushing up is probably the easiest way to get the blend. And when we come to this section here, we want to go basically from right to left. It is luminance, yeah. Shape we want, and we can start shading in that central bit. Dark sepia. Wherever you've gone, there you are. Dark sepia. Dark indigo. I might do, after 10 o'clock, I might do an hour on the Green Lion. So if you want to see any of that, if you're on YouTube, if you hop over to TikTok, if you have it, you'll see it on there. Okay, let's go back over to Payne's Grey. I'm just going to fill in the central section of mine a little bit more. And we can do the same on this section here. I'm not doing too bad. I'll see how I'm feeling, but I'm not doing too bad at the moment. I'll probably go and get a cup of coffee and everything after the main tutorial section. Dark indigo. Dark sepia. And then in between, I am tempted to go burnt sienna. Let's go burnt sienna. Don't go too heavy, but I think burnt sienna in between would work really well. And then you can see exactly how much more we need to come up with those darker patches. So Payne's Grey, and we're going to come down a bit further. We're going to bring this shape up a little bit more as well until they're meeting near enough. dark sepia. Dark indigo. So while I've got, I might do it in Payne's Grey first. On sharp point actually. So his whisker, there is a tiny little bit of pale, and then as it comes out it goes dark. Now I've done my whisker in a slightly different place. It should technically be along here, so you're not really going to see it as well, but if you've done yours in the right place, it will come across this section here. And you've got that one as well, which is dark at the beginning. And then he has a little dark one here. So do this one, pencils in my hand really. Okay, warm grey 4. Let's get a bit more detail happening in here. It really is quite light actually on this side, so a bit shallow where that whisker comes in and meets that fur. Make sure you get that in. Curve it round as you come to meet this dark section here. Burnt sienna, and we're going to come out from this section in, so right to left. Raw umber, I'm just going to do similar. And bring that raw umber round into the section down here. Titanium. I'm just going to blend the ends out. Don't go into the darkest section, just start from where the edges go into the light section and just blend those slightly, and then you can blend over the whole lot down here. Right, mine needs darkening a bit in this section, so I'm just going to do that now, and I've lost a bit of a pointy shape here, so I'm going to add that in. can add in. How are we doing? We doing all right? Darken this little section as this comes out as well. While I've got the pencil in my hand. Little flecks of dark again while I've got this in my hand. Darken that one for me. Drawing them up a little bit. And a little couple of darker spots in here too I can add in while I've still got that colour. From here we want a little bit of detail out, so just bring a few really tiny hairs just to soften that little edge there. Hi Georgina. Okay, he's got a little bit of rough dark bits underneath here, but we'll deal with that when we sort of come around. So ideally I want to get that little section in under here that I missed off his line work. So I'm just very quickly going in with Payne's Grey. I'm going to go in with the burnt sienna just around the edge. Dark indigo. Again, just on the inside. Payne's Grey. Just to get that bit. Okay, I'm going to soften over again with my luminance, so buff titanium. There we go. Right, let's get this little bit here done. Yeah, I'm not too bad. Not too bad. I was alright all day and then I started feeling really crappy this afternoon. Right, I am going to erase my back line here a bit. How are you? Right, we're going to do things a little bit different here because of how the fur is quite out of focus. So don't go too heavy, but do a layer, a lightish layer of buff titanium. And what this is going to help do is desaturate the colour as we put the colour down. So when I go to do my raw, do I want to do the raw umber first? No, grab your dark sepia. and very quickly just pop in where those dark stripes are at the back. You don't have to be massively neat, but you just need to mark in where they are. Okay. So, raw umber. And we need to start facing the direction that we're going in. You'll notice I haven't filled this section in because it's lighter. A little bit down this black stripe here where it comes into the fur. I'm going to do a few, not many, just a few strokes of fur through that middle section, but keeping it light. And I'm going to grab the burnt sienna. Just shade over that back bit. And the very back bit. Dark sepia, just going to extend where the dark areas are. Burnt sienna. Walnut brown. Of titanium. Raw umber. I'm just going to draw some little fur details coming out the back, similar to what we've done with the ear and the top of the head. I actually just read that as you were chilling your plants. I'm going to need to wake up a little bit. If you want to soften these, because it's supposed to be out of focus, just rub gently over with your buff titanium. it. I don't know if I said I've got dark sepia in my hand, sorry. We could do a few longer bits coming out here. Okay. Let's get this little bit of his chin done, I think. Raw umber. Tiny bit of burnt sienna just on the very inner part. We want to define his chin here, so we can go all underneath with raw umber, but keep this line for his chin clear until we start shading in a bit more. Bit of burnt sienna. Cheers board. Yeah, if you want to learn how to draw this with me, you can actually go over to my YouTube channel. This is the 4th in the series of this tutorial. It takes me a little bit longer when I'm doing it as a tutorial basis. So I'm live on YouTube and TikTok right now, so when you want to look at the previous ones, you head to my YouTube, the link's in the bio, watch the last 3 weeks and you can join along, but it's always going to be there, so you've got plenty of time. And there's a link in my bio with all the tutorial details, including the reference, the line work, the grid work, and all the pencils that you need. You don't have to use the pencils that I've put down, but they're there if you do have them. So you're more than welcome to come and join us. I think while I've got the burnt sienna, I'm going to put a couple of little, not much, but just up in this section as we come up, just to add a bit of colour. Right, raw umber. Again, don't go too heavy, but there should be enough buff titanium down that you can't. And then we're going to literally go from top to bottom over where that blend line is, or over his chin line, whatever you want to call it. So you've still got a definition of his chin there, but it's soft, which is how it should be. The link is in my bio. You should be able to find it there. I'm going to darken underneath this little section here with the burnt sienna. We're not going to concentrate too much on this underneath section. We need to finish his face off. So let's get his face finished. Hi, Holly. So I'm going to turn slightly as it's easier for me to work without smudging. Okay, so we've got 35 minutes ish for the tutorial. Then if you want to stick around, I'm going to go and get a cup of coffee and everything, just stretch my legs. But if you want to stick around, I shall be doing some more on the peridot lion for about an hour, depending. So that will be happening. So pretty much most of this is all quite light, but there is a section here that's dark. So we're going to grab our Payne's Grey and we're going to block that in now. Like so. You see all the whiskers nicely shining through. Tutorials run every Wednesday pretty much from 8 PM UK time. I always dual feed them so you guys can see them on TikTok, but if you want to follow along then you've got the option to go back and watch them on my YouTube channel. Of longish hairs in there, so I'm just going to do a few longer strokes going up into the lighter hair. Okay, so I'm just, let's go in with the cold grey one. I'm going to remove as much of that as I can, really. Okay, let's fill that back in. Also, yours will be much neater than mine because you'll take the time. Hi, Stephen. Okay, so warm, cold grey one. Just fill that area. Cold grey 3, and then we're going to look just here. It carries on underneath and there's like a little darker patch just underneath, and most of this chin section here is darker. This will all eventually come round into it as we draw. Neater. Yes, Gary, neater. No, Stephen on YouTube. Stephen with a B. Bit around where those whiskers pop out. Just going to do a few bits of detail while I've got the colour in my hand. Not 100% necessary, to be honest. Black titanium. Grey 3. Right, while we're here, we're going to finish this section off. So Cap and Morton Violet, I'm just going to bring the mouth round to finish that off, because I think we hadn't finished it fully last time. So if you finished yours off, it's not a problem, but I need to finish mine. Dark Sepia. Slice tool, just get some fine hairs over the mouth. Don't think I've got enough wax down, but Coldbury 3. Okay, so we can get away now with finishing the section that was just here. So Dark Sepia. We can darken up those little spots underneath. As we come around, you'll see he's got little bits of dark fur. That's sort of like a mixture of Whiskers and sort of like what looks like a chunk of fur, but we can get that in now. Do some fine ones as well. I'm going to do some with the Payne's Grey. Just fine ones. I'm not going to go heavy with these. Just one little fine. That one's gone a bit too far. Move that back. A bit of a blend over, soften them out a bit. That's great. Adding a few other little whiskers and bits that I can see while I'm here. If you want to see the exact brand of pencils and the colours I'm using for this tutorial, the link that's in my bio will take you to my blog and all the information is there. Burnt sienna. No, Cap and Morton Violet. I wanted burnt sienna. Damn you. Snuck in. Shade under here a little bit more, just to make that little bit of the cheek area a bit more prominent. A little bit around here, I think. For you guys on YouTube, it's in the description. For people on TikTok, it's in my bio. So yeah, all the information you need for you guys on YouTube is in the description. Okay, so while I've got the burnt sienna, I can start to colour the little areas down here by his chin. Just start to add a bit of colour around the edges where you can see it. We might finish slightly earlier, and the only reason being is because I want to do the chest on a separate tutorial, so we'll probably do that next week. It'd be nice to sort of finish it rounded off where we are. So that's the head complete. Okay, so we can start building up the darker fur. So Payne's Grey. We'll add all the details coming down after we've done the chest part of it. There's also a post in the group, Joe, if you need to find it. There's a post in the group with all the links in, but just go to my website and it's in the blog section. Straight into where I don't want to draw. Okay, dark sepia. Dark indigo. Right, you should have enough wax down if you have the slice tool. If you want to, you should be able to just bring in a couple of very fine white hairs. That's alright, that's the joy of it being on YouTube. It means you can just pause it, you can start again. It's always up on YouTube, so the tutorials will not disappear. So even if in a year's time you decide I want to have a go at that again, it's going to be there for you to rewatch. So don't worry about doing anything real time. It's just really to sort of show you my techniques, the way I do it. Cold grey 4, 3. God, get the colours right one day. But we could patch it a little bit here, make it a bit darker. And under here. I'm going to grab my Payne's Grey and I'm just going to do a few more details just in here. I don't like it when it's so flat. Should go a bit dark on mine, I think, and under here. Blend. As I say, you will be a lot neater when you do yours because you'll take a bit more time. Okay, I'm going to zoom you out on YouTube so you can get a better idea. And I can get a better idea. Okay, so I'm not happy with this particular section here. What's happening is, although it is quite similar to the reference in that sense, it feels too bold, which means that this little section here needs darkening up a bit more. So I'm going to I'm going to move that couple more because I keep picking it up. My burnt sienna, and I'm just going to darken this little section in here a bit more. And a little bit around here. And I need to straighten my dark patch. So my dark patch here is too curved. So I'm going to bring my dark patch up and then over. This is why you always need to step back from your work. To extend that shape down a bit more, but we are pretty much there for today's tutorial. I think I do want to leave it here because we have finished off the head now, and I think it would be best to leave it here. I'm just going to tilt it slightly for YouTube so you can see a little bit more of the colour. Sadly, where the light hits on there you go, on YouTube, it doesn't quite give you the right colour. So that's roughly where you should be at the moment. I've just noticed I want to darken that in there. So I'm going to shut down on TikTok and YouTube, but I will be back on TikTok because I want to keep them separate. I don't want the live feed to be the same thing. So if you want to come and join me doing him, then keep your eye out for the live feed again in a minute. But for you guys on YouTube, any questions, come find me in the group. But that's roughly what you should be looking like on there so far. So let me know how you get on. But thank you very much for joining me on the YouTubes. And sorry about the noise earlier. And yeah, I'll see you next week, and we'll start on the chest, and there's going to be a lot of greys going on in the chest, so make sure you have a good selection of your cold greys and your warm greys ready. So that's it for me for this tutorial. I shall be back on in about 5 minutes on TikTok, and we'll carry on with the line for an hour, and then I'm logging off for the evening. So anyway, thank you very much, YouTubes. I'll see you later. Bye.